Now that you've launched Engagement Designer, it's worthwhile to take a quick look around. The designer will open with a blank canvas, which comes pre-populated with a variables node, a properties node, and a start node on its canvas. There are 5 areas of the Engagement Designer interface. One is the toolbar, which will have familiar icons that provide tooltips once you hover over them. You'll recognize things like open and save as. You'll also notice you can import and export your workflows to a file. That makes them easy and portable to move around from system to system. We also have a way for you to preview your workflow, validate whether there are any errors, or deploy your workflow right from this environment. We also have a built-in debugger so that you can test it before you deploy it. The palette is on the left-hand side of the user interface for the Engagement Designer, and it contains all of the tasks that you will be able to use to build your canvas. These tasks are grouped into separate elements called drawers. And you may have fewer or more tasks in your palette depending on which specific snap-ins or task bundles you may have installed. As a Collaboratory user, you're also able to create new dynamic tasks and load these into your lab environment as well. The palette, or the canvas, is the section of the interface where your workflow designs will take place. You can drag steps from the palette here and just drop them onto the environment. They'll snap to the nearest grid location, and then once they're done, you can hover over a step until it produces a blue arrow, and then link it to the next step, and then drop it there and it'll stick. There's also a zoom view down here, which gives you a bird's eye view of your whole creation, because sometimes these workflows get too big to display all on one page. There's also an error pane that appears only when you're validating your workflow, and it will show you any errors that you've made in your flow. And since my flow is not yet complete, it has lots of errors. So that's the 5th part of the canvas. We'll go ahead and start with a new canvas here and not save any changes that I've done. So the start step is there by default, and that will let you determine what sort of event will trigger this workflow. So you could either double click the step or right click and select properties in order to see what's behind it. So this will allow you to schedule this workflow to kick off at a certain time of day, or you can have it trigger by an event from the outside. And we have a number of events in our library, such as call and call intercepted. We'll go ahead and select one of the library events now. And you would select an event family and a type. We'll let this be an inbound call, so we'll tell it to intercept a call to the called party where we're the called party. And then we'll select an event schema. And once you've set all of those fields in the event, in the startup event, that will ready this workflow to receive the information when a call comes in that this workflow participates in. So you can show that schema there, but there's no requirement to look at it, and there's no ability to edit it because you've taken it from a library event. You can also freeform that schema if you leave all of the settings above blank, then you're able to add your own schema for a custom start event. But we'll go ahead now and perform a small workflow sample, making it an inbound call intercept flow. So by populating all of those drop-down boxes, we know exactly what information we're going to get from the system with each incoming call. There's a data mapper in Engagement Designer which will take all of those variables and make them available to steps that are further on in the workflow. Clicking the output mapping demonstrates this. So the call event will receive system information like calling party handle, domain, and display. It's good information to know about the identity of your callers and also what number they're calling. It also contains a unique call identifier, which is important for media carrying steps. So all of that information that came in with the start event was automatically copied to a data object called your start schema and will be available for use later on in the workflow. So the basic requirement for designing workflows is a good solid understanding of flowcharting skills. So using the step libraries in the palette here, I can take a step back and determine what type of workflow I want to create for this sample. So I've already made this an inbound call, so I'll go ahead and start with a quick example of one that plays an announcement to the caller and then basically just lets them go. We'll call this an informational announcement line. So from there, we know that a call has landed, an incoming call has landed in our start object. So we'll use our media drawer to play an announcement to the called party. So I just drag the announcement block, and then I hover over the start until it gets a blue arrow, and then I hold down the pointer and join it to the play step. And once I'm there, let's just make this very quick to start with. I've played my announcement. Now let's go ahead and just thank the caller and drop the call. And then once that call is dropped, I can go ahead and end the call. And so I'll go to my events drawer for that end event. Each workflow must have an end event along with the start event, which comes by default. Okay, so now that we've got the basic structure mapped out of this workflow, we can go ahead and drill down and really program the underlying properties. And so we can change the label to name the step. And we have a text-to-speech capability in this lab environment so that you can just type right here in this property field any message you wish to play to the user. So I'll give them some variety of close treatment there. And that's really all I need to do is to provide the specific media to play. I could have also given a file location if I wanted a recorded prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and click the input mapping, which is not necessary, but it'll let you understand more about the data mapper that's here. And you'll notice that the unique call identifier from the start schema was automatically mapped into this play step. And that is a nice feature because every media carrying step needs to be aware of that unique call identifier. And so the engagement designer makes that mapping automatically for you. And so I didn't change it, I just looked at it, so there's no need for me to save it. So I'll go ahead and just greet the caller, say OK, and then I'll drop the caller. And likewise, the drop step needs to be aware of the unique call identifier of the call that we wish to drop, and that comes automatically mapped for you. So I don't need to do anything, so I can just cancel out of here. And so that should be all you need to do. And so now we can save this workflow. Saving it will be also a straightforward process of selecting a folder location. Once you've saved it, you can validate it, and that will check for any errors or warnings. The warnings are safe to ignore because the default call ID will be used in the greeting step, and that's fine. But that there are no errors was an important thing to look at. So now that we're done, we can deploy this workflow. As we deploy it, it will allow us to put in any comments, and we can select which of potentially many service profiles to deploy it on. So I'm going to go ahead and select something in the 2300 range because that is our SIP extension range. So I'll go ahead and deploy that now. And so you can see that the system is deploying it as an SVAR file and automatically loading it into System Manager. So that should be ready to call after just a moment.